very differently.
I realize that. Another thing, did you put the picture of the portal up?
Yeah, the two photos that showed the change?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me go back to that. So that's, I think that's our pre-Irene picture, and that's a recent picture.
Now this back channel you talked about,
Yeah.
it would be to the south.
Right,
Years ago, that was a stream.
right, yes.
Was there any thought to straightening that small section out? Because as the gravel, that large gravel bar built up, the stream turned, it deposited gravel on one side and took material out to the north toward the road.
So in other words, putting the channel back, you're saying straightening,
Was there any thought to that? Because all that material was eaten out by the stream over the years as it moved toward 28. And if it keeps going, they're going to lose 28. The same thing above the bridge by Bob Jones. That stream takes a small turn there. It takes material out 28 side and deposits it in a big gravel bank on the other side. And as the gravel banks get bigger, the flood problem gets worse.
you're talking about the gravel in here on this side?
Yes,
Yeah.
that was deposited there over the years.
We did not look at taking this up, no. We looked at opening this up back through here.
That was the original stream channel.
That was the original stream, yes.
Yeah.
When the
Right.
portal was originally built, there was a channel from the portal to that stream channel in the back.
Came all the way over to here.
Yes,
I see.
and it wasn't maintained once they did that.
Yeah.
It's just one of our minor problems.
Because I remember those pictures from the 87 flood, which also washed out 28 in that same spot. So, yeah, since I guess maybe that was my jump.
It's a recent, back in the 30s, something changed
Oh,
all the way
that
down
was-
through. Because that was the old original stream channel was along the railroad.
You know, one thing similar to my statements about the levee with the water being directed right at it and causing erosion. That was, we went out there and walked around and looked at the aerials, it was pretty obvious that that's what was happening. It's not something we are able to really evaluate with our hydraulic model because we, you know, if the water is being directed there and causing erosion, there may be things that can be done to improve that. It's an erosional issue. We were looking to primarily to reduce the flood elevations by allowing some of the water to come through here. And what we found was, in the bigger floods, it really doesn't matter. This is all inundated in here. You know, so whether the water goes this way or that way didn't make too much of a difference. And we didn't try it here, but further upstream and in many locations in our Phoenicia Mount Tremper LFA, we tried removing gravel bars, removing sections of the channel. We found it makes a difference in the smaller floods, like a 2-year flood, a 5-year flood. By the time you get up to the larger floods, which actually start flooding people, there wasn't really any difference at all. So that's generally what we found. Yes.
Back by the confluence of 42 and 28,
Right.
with the Bushnellville stream, it's basically what you said. The stream has now changed course.
Yes.
Under the new bridge that was put in place is again a huge gravel bar, which is maintaining the new stream bed against the dike,
Right. I see.
correct? Did you do a study on removing that gravel bar, thereby reducing the velocity of the water going against that dike?
Not exactly that, no. I mean, I think, you know, we recommended armoring of those levees there, and there may be, you know, that'll require someone to design an armoring, and it may be that deflectors could be created in the channel that direct water and prevent it from being directed you know, where it causes erosion. As opposed to armoring, that's a possibility. It's not the sort of thing that we model, but I think it's a good suggestion, it's a possibility.
Well, water's gonna go to the path of least resistance. So if that gravel bar, which is now keeping it in that new channel, is removed, the water would have again an opportunity to go where the gravel bar is now and where it used to flow in the old channel. So I'm surprised that that wasn't studied, rather than just saying, oh, we have to, make the levee more impervious at this point.
Yeah. Well, the fact is, next flood, the gravel's gonna move all around again. And it's the nature of the way the channel is at this location.
Correct.
So,
And at the same time, we used to ask, when there were floods, post the flood or post any high water, stream maintenance was done to prevent these gravel bars from getting this big. And that, does anybody know what year that stopped? And why?
DEC stopped that. I think it was in the 90s.
And have we had a significant increase in flooding since that time?
Well, we've had a significant increase in rainfall.
Right, but also in the amount of flooding. I remember we do have the climate warming, and there's a problem with that. We all should be in agreement with that. But at the same time, basic stream maintenance has stopped as far as the channels go. I remember every year when there were high water, machines would be in the streams at some point if there was a problem area to reduce the gravel back
Yeah,
there.
but you also have to look at, they had the data out there showing you that those streams, those floods that we had back then were maybe 2/3 or 1/3 less than what Irene and I believe it was the 81 was the next highest.
05.
Or 05.
yeah, I think so.
The two most recent floods were, the volume of water was
Well,
threefold.
Irene was an exception, and it probably will happen again. That's the exception. But we had many floods that a lot of places were flooded prior to.
So, yeah, so you had the 51 flood, which was of interest. So,
Was that when the Pine Hill?
highest flood you're ever going to see, let's build it to this elevation. That's the problem, is that they built it to that elevation, and then lo and behold, we go 1/3 higher, and we're still not even at the 100-year flood, using the hydraulic modeling and stuff. So, as Mark was explaining, we want to address that levee and get that so it's not being attacked. And again, I know, that's our swimming hole. I mean, that moved completely, so.
It is moving.
It is no more, there is no more swimming hole, and I worry about the way, again, the angle that stream is coming at that levee. The problem is that when you get to the level of Irene, it's gonna overtop that, or more, it's gonna overtop that no matter what you do.
If you relocate those homes that are now in the floodway, right, through volunteer or eminent domain or however you do it,
Right.
what effect would that have on the tax base of the township?
Well, again, we're not gonna use eminent domain to move
Right,
it.
but if they voluntarily relocate.
If they wanted to relocate, again, the ideal scenario would be that we would find a location within the town for them to relocate to.
And how much open land do you have in the town of Shandaken?
We got about 6%. Yeah, we don't have very much, but we do have some higher areas. I mean, again, I can show you one down in Mount Tremper where the gentleman was flooded out, and he went through this whole New York Rising program, which was just a big pain in the butt for him. But now he is relocated up within his own parcel. We haven't lost him, so we've got him still as tax base. The other ones that were FEMA buyouts that were just, they're not going to be here anymore. Those people bought out, houses are demolished, but now the DEP is going to be paying his open force tax on that property, but immediately
But
after
opening
Irene,
floor's tax rate is,
it's minimal, but it's there. But know that after Irene, part of the objective of the town is that they immediately go out and assess those properties that are damaged beyond 50%. So their assessment dropped right after Irene, so that tax base was gone as soon as Irene went through the town.
but if,
So
if
we'd
all
already
these,
lost that.
if all these red spotted designated homes
Yes.
were taken out of the picture, all right, which is a possibility, because that's one of the recommendations that's being done, what total effect would that have on the
I
tax
couldn't
base?
give you a financial
That
number on
should,
that.
that should also be in there, because one of the recommendations was to disallow the homes in that floodway to elevate, which would be a preventative.
There's very
So,
few homes in the
There's not-
floodway,
there's not a lot of
and there's
homes.
not many red homes on those maps.
All
I
right.
wish those maps were a little
how
clearer.
many are we talking about?
A handful,
The red ones?
Five.
Yeah.
maybe five.
Five.
And it's mostly like right here, like this area.
In this area?
Yeah,
So from the portal down,
no, from town hall down,
down Holden,
Yeah.
okay.
down to like,
So 5 would have to be relocated. And where would you relocate the town hall at this point?
town hall is actually already a program in place through the New York Rising program. We had a meeting with the engineers and consultant last Monday, I believe, right there. And they're doing a feasibility study of relocating to the property that was previously going to be used for a Phoenicia sewer system or sewer plant down by between the diner and the plaza. There's a parcel of property that the town actually owns there. and they're looking
Didn't
at-
that flood?
No,
That didn't flood with the plaza?
no,
Okay, so that was above
no,
that.
it's a higher
Where that
grade
little hole
plaza.
was.
There's a little water course that runs through there that gets a little high, but it doesn't break out of those banks.
All right. And the town garage? up
Town
front
garage,
there?
everything would go the same place.
The same place?
Yeah. So when you go to, the forest access, you
Yep,
get
yep.
past where the horse
Yep.
town, from that towards where the gas storage area is, that's
Back
town
road
property.
where the trails were and that back
Yep.
road.
It goes back quite a ways. It's
Okay,
like
yep, yeah.
2.5 acres, or so. And we're on a 1.2 acre lot here.
And that was, and the garage would be up in the back?
Okay.
Yeah, I know
as-
that's, the topic of and I know it's a concern to any town about the tax implications of buyouts. And, that it's a decision that the town and the individuals have to make. But I will say, I've worked in a lot of towns where there isn't a city buyout available. And kind of one thing to consider, the other side of that is abandoned homes. Because people get flooded, they don't have a buyout program available to them, and they end up walking away from the home and leaving it abandoned. So that's, that I do see it sometimes.
I mean, the town is obviously in these areas. This was a concern area by 42, and that's.
Well, you have how many homes there?
Yeah, well, it's not just the homes, again, it's the families that are there, longtime families.
And
Known
one
to
is
me
it-
personally, so,
and one of those properties is also historic,
yes.
isn't it?
So, obviously, we'd be promoting elevation through those areas where it's suitable. Again, we know the elevation there, it's gonna require filling in some of the basements, you're gonna have to get them up to flood elevation. Just to help them reduce the flood insurance costs, if they maintain the house, if they have a federally backed mortgage, if they try to sell, it's all these little things, and there's programs available where we can assist in getting that done, just to try to elevate them.
The floodway does run right along the levee there, so they're not, those houses aren't in the floodway, the ones behind the levee.
One more thing, the velocity of the water you were talking about,
By the portal there?
by the port.
Yeah.
When the reconstruction was done, compared to the reconstruction that was done in the 214 Creek, I don't know what the name of that creek is. Stony Brook. Very large riprap and stones were placed to slow the velocity of the water in the creek bed. Here, I could pick up the stones that were placed.
Yeah.
To reduce. Is there a plan to rethink that and add that to it, to reduce that velocity coming through?
I mean, I can speak totally to this.
Yeah,
I've
not
done it
that,
over the years.
not,
So the story goes, DOT was down there working diligently after I made a repair, Route 28, they were working a nice thing to get the poles back that were dangling in the stream and everything else. They opened up that back channel more so they could do the work in that section, basically get some dry land work while they're working on a stream bed. And it was, I believe, the DEC that came along and told them that they had, now the idea was that when they got done, they were just gonna leave it as is. You know, and the stream will do whatever it wants to, maybe go back to the channel it's in now, maybe stay in that back channel, who knows, and all is good. DEC insisted that they put it back in the channel going towards the portal, because that was the natural water course, and being in the state preserve and so on and so forth, they made them block off that back channel, and then said they wanted some in-stream structures to help, and I think it was kind of this attitude the DOT guys got, and they were like, we're busting our hump here, and you just came and wrecked the whole plan. We had it all handled and taken care of. So I think it was like kind of out of spite that they put those little rocks there and made it look like a Japanese rock garden. You know, so it was a weird. There was something going on there that was beyond us and beyond what we were being told. That was between DOT and DEC at the time. Why that all transpired in that section.
But it may be, yeah, they're gone. I remember seeing the pictures of
They
them.
did the same in the Beaver Kill.
And it may be, you know, for that area, we just, our modeling wasn't detailed enough. You know, we hadn't set out to do sort of analysis of velocities through there. It's not normally what we do in a flood analysis. There may be some, you know, further analysis that may find a better solution there, including maybe roughness in the channel to prevent that from Route 28 from washing out in a future flood.
And,
You know, I hate to do a study and recommend further study, but that's what we're doing in that area.
I'm sorry, you'll be next.
We don't have the modeling.
Just to clarify for a second, I'm just realizing that work in the Stony Clove, though, wasn't done as a flood mitigation exercise. That was done as an erosion control thing, had nothing to do with flooding. So the armoring there was really to protect Silver Hollow Road as well as the state route, because it was all slipping down. So, and there was a head cut, correct? It was like an 8-foot, 10-foot head cut going up the stream, which means digging out the stream and moving on. And it would create more erosion.
Are you talking about way out, like our project, or
Yeah.
which? Okay.
Yeah, it was, I don't know, Stony Clove 2?
Yeah.
Well, the whole thing of that is that was for water quality, that was DEP paid for that for water quality. So it worked out for us because it helped their water quality, it helped our roads and protect our roads. So when they designed those streams, unlike what they did down here, they designed it to handle 100 years of flood problem. They can't design it over 100 years of flood, it's too expensive. So they should work good in 100-year flood, we don't have them.
If you remember, it was a couple of years ago that everybody was complaining how the Stony Clove Creek, you know, from Phoenicia was really running like you. It was just chocolate milk constantly, not even during the rainstorm, it was always running. So
Yeah.
it was to stop that. There was clay banks that were exposed and stuff, and they had to cover those up.
Can you please bring the photo of Rosary Hollow Bridge on 28?
Rose Tree Hollow. Oh, the picture near the end here? Or the one?
Bridge, Route 28 bridge by Broad Street. That was it.
Was there a problem with that bridge?
Not with the bridge overtopping, but in the 100-year flood, when we modeled it, the bridge, the backup of water at the bridge contributes to the flooding of the homes upstream of the bridge. So if that bridge were bigger, had a bigger opening underneath it, that probably wouldn't occur. So what we recommend there is, you know, when that bridge is due for replacement, it have a larger span.
Only 100-year.
Right, at the 50-year flood, it didn't really make things worse, and it's, you know, it's,
When you say the homes upstreams,
right,
I'm an upstream, right
okay,
by the bridge.
sure, yeah.
So,
Have you been flooded before?
well, we lost a lot of property. The house has not been flooded,
I
but
see.
we keep losing property every time.
From erosion?
Mhm.
I see.
And the stream just breaks in and take land,
Right,
and
yeah.
we fill it up.
Yeah, I remember now, I think we talked to you when we were doing our field.
So I'm wondering about this bridge. That's number one. Number two, if this has to be replaced coming to pass this bridge to all this area, you have to go through, I don't know where, Socrates and Wyndham and all of it to come.
They're not gonna pick up our report and go out and replace this bridge tomorrow. And, I mean, they have, you know, where there's severely undersized bridges, we have seen some follow through from the DOT on some of our flood analysis, but the problem here is not severe. And it seems like only in a really big flood it would contribute to flooding of your home. It didn't even happen in Irene.
No, just the property.
Yeah, the erosion problem, I don't know what's contributing to that, but it may be another problem there.
Yeah, well, we've had a good relationship with DOT, as is, we're working with them right now for the Mount Tremper Bridge replacement. That's due for 2019-2020. And if that, when that bridge comes on the docket to say that they're ready to replace that, because there's a whole bridge program that the state's doing to get the bridges more flood resilient, that's what created the 28 bridge in Shandaken and 42 and the Big Indian Bridge, they all came out of that. So we'll obviously be reaching out to them and saying, hey, we have some modeling here. When you come around to get to this bridge, please elevate it or arc it something, just so we can reduce it during the 100-year flood. Especially being that it affects residential structures. Some of these other ones really didn't affect a residential structure, it was just the protection of the road, not the bridge.
So speaking of a bridge, the one that they're doing now by Big Indian, are they replacing it, or is this the permanent bridge that?
The one they're building is going to be the permanent bridge. They're eventually, I think they said, probably April or May, those lanes are going to swing onto the new bridge, and traffic's going to travel on that bridge, and they're going to demolish the old bridge and take it out of there.
So this is the new bridge?
That's going to be the new bridge, and where they have that intersection at Creekside Drive, on the far side of the bridge, they have to redo that. They're cutting into the whole bank and going to square that off a little bit better, so it's not such an angle.
Because that intersection is like,
Yeah.
you're going to run into the cars. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
So this is a basic question. Who actually does the stream mitigation work when, sandbars and gravel and all that build up in streams?
It'd be bid out for private contractors.
Okay, so it's not like DEC or?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, we do it, again, we've had Baker Brothers, we've had Fast Tracks, we've had a number of different contractors that physically do this. So,
Okay. And then the second question is, with all the changes going on, political changes with budgets and things like that, is there any preparation or discussion around how things might change if a lot of federal money dries up, in terms of us being able to cope with increasing floods with climate change and all that?
a lot of the programs we're working with are city funded. I don't know if they give a lot of federal funding for these projects, if it funnels through the city, Phil.
So post-disaster funds, I would expect, because after a disaster, there's a lot of pressure from politicians to get assistance. And I think that tends to continue. If you look at Houston, under the current administration, there's still funds going to Houston and other flood areas. So I would expect that programs like the emergency, Puerto Rico not so much, but that I can't speak to. But we receive funds in Ulster County, and the city matched our dollars to the funds that they got from the Natural Resources Conservation Service and RCS. They were Department of Agriculture funds. They contributed 75 cents for every 25 cents the city gave to me. And there was, about, I'm not sure how many millions of dollars that came into Ulster County through the EWP program. FEMA will probably still be funded. They don't do so much stream work, but they do a lot of work around the bridges to repair bridges. Mostly repairs back to their pre-flood state, not upsizing the bridges, but they have a hazard mitigation fund where you can apply, if you can take an example, a study like this where it shows that the bridge should be bigger and it should mitigate flooding on some of these houses, you can apply for that hazard mitigation fund to get additional funds to help improve the size of that bridge or culvert. So this study will help in that. It will also, I think, we're committed at the DEP, if there's another flood, to commit to use our dollars to assist to leverage other federal dollars. We do that through the Soil and Water Conservation District and Cornell Cooperative Extension. And it's worked out pretty good in the past, and we would expect it to continue, so I don't see a problem on that front.
Good to know.
So what does the almanac tell us about the winter?
Cold and snowy.
Cold and snowy?
I hope so. I want to see.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Now?
Thank you, folks.
Well, I guess you can go online and see the maps.
Yeah, exactly. What they're presenting today is not.
No, well, just because of the project area, it's defined by the Hamlets. So we didn't go very far.
Well, there must be a way online where you can look at things more.